Hello, my name is Waylon Miller, 37 years old, a mechanic living on the outskirts of a small town called Crestwood, where dusty roads and weathered wooden houses nestle against endless fields of corn. If my life were a painting, honestly, it would be filled with nothing but shades of black and grayish brown. Yet amidst that canvas, there's a vibrant patch of light, radiant and unquenchable. That's Monica, my 11-year-old daughter, with sparkling eyes and a smile that could melt even the coldest winter days. 5 years ago, when Monica was just 6, my wife, Clara, passed away forever after a brutal illness. That wretched cancer didn't just take the woman I loved, it left an unfillable void in both my heart and Monica's. Since then, it's been just the two of us, quietly clinging to each other in our tiny house, where the smell of motor oil and the crackle of an old radio blend with Monica's clear, bright laughter. I worked tirelessly at Hank's auto shop, from early morning until late at night, to scrape together enough money to cover the piling bills, my parents' medical expenses in the next town over, and the little things, like a new pair of shoes for Monica when her old ones are torn to shreds. Monica, oh, that girl is my entire world. She has a fierce passion for ballet, something truly peculiar for a kid growing up among dusty roads and neighbors who only care about football or car races. Clara was once a ballet dancer, not professionally, but she passed her love for those graceful movements on to Monica. Every evening, Monica pulls out her mother's old ballet outfit, a faded pink leotard torn at the edges and a pair of pointe shoes so worn they nearly expose her toes. She stands in front of the cracked mirror in our living room, spinning and rising on her toes, teaching herself through blurry YouTube videos on my old phone. Watching Monica, I feel both proud and heartbroken. Proud because she's so talented, heartbroken because I can't give her a new pair of shoes, a proper dance class, or anything worthy of her burning passion. Crestwood isn't an easy place to live, especially for a single dad like me. The judgmental stares, the whispers behind my back, they cut into my pride like knives. Look at Waylon. That broke guy raising his kid alone probably can't even provide for her, they say, without a hint of discretion, even when I'm standing just a few steps away. Once Mrs. Carter at the grocery store blurted out right in front of Monica, "Such a pretty girl, it's a shame she's growing up in these circumstances." I grabbed Monica's hand tightly, hurrying her away, trying to hide the anger boiling inside me. I don't want Monica to hear those words. I don't want the light in her eyes to be snuffed out by the cruelty of others. Every day I wake up at 5 in the morning, brew bitter black coffee, work on cars until my hands and feet ache, then come home to see Monica practicing her dance moves under the dim yellow light. I try to smile even though my heart feels heavy. I know Monica deserves more, a real chance to shine, not just clumsy steps in a cramped room. But money is always short. Bills keep coming, and my parents, whom I still send money to every month for their medications, never ask much about us beyond complaining about their health. I used to think that if I just tried a little harder, worked a little more, I could give Monica a better life. But in reality, Crestwood and the world itself seems determined to deny us that chance. One evening, as I sat at the kitchen table going over the electric bill, Monica ran up and hugged me from behind. "Dad, I want to join the Youth America Grand Prix," she said, her voice brimming with excitement. I looked up into her shining eyes and my heart tightened. The Youth America Grand Prix, a prestigious ballet competition for young talents, where wealthy girls with sparkling pointe shoes and renowned teachers compete. How could Monica possibly compete? How could I, a mechanic with just a few bucks in my pocket, get her there? But seeing her smile, I couldn't bring myself to say no. "All right, sweetheart," I said, though I had no idea where to start. "I'll find a way." That night, after Monica had fallen asleep, I sat alone in the dark, staring at the tattered ballet outfit she still cherished. I knew that for Monica to have a chance, I needed a miracle. And then that miracle seemed to come, or at least I thought it did, when I got word that my parents, who had never paid much attention to us, had just won over $200,000 in the lottery. I still vividly remember the day my mother called, her voice brimming with an excitement I'd never heard before. "Waylon, bring Monica to our place for dinner this weekend," she said without a trace of the usual brief calls where she'd only complain about her ailments or ask perfunctory questions. I was a bit surprised, but a spark of hope flickered in my chest. Maybe my parents, despite never being close, wanted to mend things. Monica was thrilled when she heard the news, her brown eyes sparkling. "Dad, can I wear the green dress Mom gave me for my birthday?" she asked, her voice clear and bright. I nodded, smiling, though I didn't dare hope too much. I just thought a family dinner might make Monica happy, and for me that was enough. That weekend, Monica and I took a bus, rattling along for over 2 hours to reach the nearby town where my parents lived in the same old wooden house I grew up in. When we walked in, I could hardly believe my eyes. The house was decorated with shimmering ribbons, the dining table covered with a pristine white tablecloth, laden with dishes I'd never seen in that house before. Fragrant roasted beef, creamy mashed potatoes with buttery gravy, freshly baked bread, and even a tray of glistening vanilla frosted pastries. Neighbors crowded the room, laughing and chatting boisterously, raising glasses and toasts as if it were a Christmas party. Monica, in her slightly too small green dress, held my hand, her eyes wide as she took it all in. "Dad, Grandma and Grandpa's house is so pretty," she whispered, and I just ruffled her hair, trying to hide the sense of alienation I felt in this unfamiliar scene. In the middle of the party, my father stood up, clinking his wine glass, something I'd never seen him drink. "Everyone, we have great news," he announced, his voice booming. "My wife and I have just won the lottery, over $200,000. The room erupted, applause thundering. My mother beamed, bragging about plans to buy a new TV, renovate the house, maybe even take a trip somewhere. I sat there, gripping my glass of water, my heart pounding. $200,000. That number felt like a door opening before me, a chance for Monica to study ballet professionally, to no longer dance in torn shoes and a patched-up outfit. I looked at Monica, clapping along with everyone else, her smile so innocent, and I told myself, this is my chance. When the party ended, I waited until it was just family. I took a deep breath and pulled my parents aside to a corner of the room. "Mom, Dad," I began, my voice trembling. "I know this money means a lot to you, but I have to ask, could you lend me a small amount for Monica's ballet lessons? I'll pay it back, I swear." I told them about Monica's talent, her dream of competing in the Youth America Grand Prix, how she taught herself through videos in our cramped room. But my mother cut me off, her eyes cold. "Waylon, don't be delusional. This money is for us, not for some silly ballet nonsense." My father nodded, adding, "The girl will grow up and forget about that stuff. Focus on living practically. Ballet is for rich folks, not our family." I stood there, my face burning, but I held back because Monica was playing outside, oblivious to it all. On the bus ride home, Monica fell asleep on my shoulder, her green dress crumpled. I stared out the window, the blurred streetlights passing by, a wave of disappointment crashing over me. I had hoped, even just a little, that my parents would see the light in Monica the way I did. But they didn't, and that hurt more than the whispers of the neighbors in Crestwood. I stroked Monica's hair, vowing to myself that I wouldn't give up. I'd do anything to get her on that stage, even in a tattered outfit and worn-out shoes. I opened my battered wallet, which had been with me for over a decade, holding just a few crumpled dollar bills. This month's paycheck had already gone to the electric bill and my parents' medications. I thought of Monica's torn ballet outfit, with the clumsy patches I'd tried to sew with my rough mechanic's hands. "I'll make it work," I told myself, though I had no idea where to start. The next day, I mustered all my courage and went to see Hank, my boss at the auto shop. "Hank, could I get an advance on a few months' pay?" I asked, my voice hesitant. He looked at me, his old eyes full of sympathy but also helplessness. "Waylon, you know how things are at the shop. I'd love to help, but..." He trailed off, and I understood. I nodded, thanked him, and turned away, feeling like the whole world was turning its back on me. But Monica didn't give up, and neither could I. I started taking night shifts, fixing cars for some shady racers on the outskirts, unstable work that paid cash up front. Every dollar I earned, I saved, determined to get Monica to the competition. Monica, meanwhile, remained as radiant as the morning sun. She spent hours each day practicing, choreographing a dance based on memories of her mother. "Dad, I want this dance to be about Mom, about how she always smiled no matter how tough life was," Monica said, her voice clear but full of determination. I looked at her, my heart swelling with pride and aching with sorrow. I took a needle and thread, sat under the dim yellow light, and patched up Monica's ballet outfit. My clumsy stitches pricked my hands, blood seeping out, but I didn't stop. I wanted her to step onto that stage with pride, even if her outfit couldn't compare to the sparkling leotards of the wealthy girls. As the registration date for the Youth America Grand Prix approached, I finally scraped together enough money for the entry fee and bus tickets to the city. I didn't tell Monica about the sleepless nights, the new calluses on my hands, or the conversation with her grandparents. I just hugged her and said, "You'll do great, Monica. I believe in you." But inside, I was terrified. Could a girl with torn shoes and a patched outfit stand tall under the world's gaze? Could I, a single dad, give her enough strength to face what lay ahead? I didn't know, but one thing was certain. I wouldn't let Monica fight alone. The day Monica stepped onto the stage at the Youth America Grand Prix, it felt like the weight of the entire world was pressing down on my shoulders. We had arrived in the city on an overnight bus, Monica clutching her old canvas bag that held her patched-up ballet outfit and point shoes so worn they nearly exposed her toes. She sat beside me, her eyes shining brightly, quietly rehearsing the steps of her self-choreographed dance, completely unaware of the judgmental stares waiting to scrutinize her. I, on the other hand, knew exactly what we were walking into. A world that didn't belong to us, a world of sparkling leotards, pristine satin shoes, and girls trained by renowned dance instructors. But when Monica squeezed my hand and said, "Dad, I'm not scared," I could only nod, though my heart was pounding as if it might burst. The lobby of the Lincoln Center in New York was packed with people. Parents in tailored suits and elegant dresses glided by, holding Starbucks cups, chatting about prestigious dance schools like Juilliard or the School of American Ballet. Monica, in her worn-out jacket and tattered sneakers, looked out of place, like a sparrow among swans. I led her to the dressing room where other competitors were primping in front of mirrors. Their ballet costumes glittered under the lights, adorned with rhinestones and sequins, while Monica's outfit, the faded pink leotard that once belonged to her mother, looked like something from a thrift store. I noticed a few girls glancing at Monica, then whispering to each other, smirks plain on their faces. One mother, with her hair in a high bun and pearl earrings, passed by and remarked, "Good heavens, what kind of outfit is that? It looks like it's from the last century." I gripped Monica's hand tighter, trying to shield her from those venomous words. But Monica kept smiling, focused on her upcoming performance, unbothered by the disdain around her. Before she went on stage, I comforted her, saying, "I'll be sitting in the back row. If you feel uncomfortable at any point during your performance, you can run down to me." The semifinals began. One by one, the competitors took the stage, performing classical and contemporary ballet routines with polished technique and professional poise. Monica waited backstage, her face radiant but her hands trembling slightly. When her name was called, she stepped onto the stage, her patched outfit glaringly obvious under the bright lights, my clumsy stitches practically screaming that we didn't belong here. I sat in the back row, clutching the competition program, hearing the murmurs from the crowd. "Where did that poor girl come from?" a voice said somewhere nearby. "Look at that outfit, probably sewn at home." Another person snickered, "This is the Grand Prix, not some village talent show." Each word cut into me like a knife. I wanted to stand up, shout in their faces that Monica was my daughter, that she was more talented than they could ever imagine. But I held back, because this was Monica's moment, not mine. Then the music started, a gentle piano piece Monica had chosen, saying it reminded her of her mother. Monica began to dance, and I forgot everything around me. She spun, rose on her toes, her slender arms reaching upward like wings. Her dance wasn't perfect, lacking the polished techniques the other competitors flaunted, but it had soul. Every step told a story. The story of Clara, of tough days, of a little girl's love for her mother. My eyes stung, not from sadness, but from pride. Monica wasn't just dancing. She was pouring her entire life into every movement. The audience, however, didn't see it that way. When Monica finished and took her bow, the applause was sparse, mixed with stifled giggles. A group of parents near me whispered loudly, "Self-choreographed? Sounds like a joke." I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms, trying to keep my anger from boiling over. Monica ran down from the stage and hugged me, her face glowing. "Dad, I did it. I didn't miss a single step." I hugged her tightly, whispering, "You were amazing, sweetheart." But deep down I knew she'd heard the mocking comments. Her eyes still sparkled, but I saw a flicker of something. Not fear, but a determination stronger than ever. The results were announced that evening. Monica made it to the finals, something no one, not even I, had expected. The judges in their notes called her performance raw but deeply emotional, an unpolished gem. I hugged Monica, tears streaming down my face. But the joy was fleeting. I knew the finals would be even more unforgiving, and Monica would face even harsher scrutiny. I looked at her, still holding my hand tightly, and wondered if I had the strength to protect her from this world, or at least to help her become strong enough to face it herself. After all the days of anticipation and waiting, the final round of the competition finally arrived. It was April, springtime in Tampa, Florida. Monica and I arrived at the David A. Straz Jr. Center for the Performing Arts, a magnificent venue that left me in awe. The imposing building with its white columns, shimmering glass under the sunlight, and a grand lobby that felt like a palace. This was where the Youth America Grand Prix finals were held, where Monica, my 11-year-old daughter in her patched-up ballet outfit, would stand among talents honed by prestigious dance schools. I held Monica's hand, feeling the slight tremble in her small fingers, but her brown eyes still sparkled, as if nothing in the world could make her falter. Monica had already achieved a miracle by advancing past the semifinals in New York. That day, when her name was called, I hugged her tightly, tears streaming down my cheeks. I could hardly believe that Monica, with her worn-out point shoes and self-choreographed dance, had surpassed hundreds of professionally trained competitors. But the finals in Tampa were a different challenge. Her rivals were girls with flawless technique, trained by top instructors, wearing leotards adorned with glittering jewels. In the dressing room, I watched Monica tie her black hair back with an old elastic band, her mother's faded pink leotard still showing my clumsy stitches. I wanted to say something to encourage her, but my throat tightened. "Dad, I'm going to dance my heart out," Monica said, her smile radiant like spring sunshine. I could only nod, hugging her, trying to hide the anxiety gnawing at me. The stage at the Straz Center was breathtaking, with dazzling lights and rows of audience seats stretching endlessly. I sat in a distant row, clutching the competition program, hearing the familiar murmurs from the crowd. "That girl's wearing that ragged outfit again," a voice remarked somewhere nearby. "It's like she's trying to draw attention," another whispered. I bit my lip, trying to ignore them, but each word stabbed at my heart. Monica stepped onto the stage, small but defiant, her worn point shoes creaking on the wooden floor. The music began, the gentle piano piece she had chosen, saying it reminded her of her mother. Monica started to dance, and I forgot everything around me. Monica's dance was a story. Every step, every reach of her arms, every spin was a piece of memory about Clara. About the tough days in Crestwood, about a little girl's love for her mother. She didn't have the flawless technique or the polished moves of the other competitors, but she had soul. I saw the audience fall silent, a few people leaning forward, wiping their eyes. Monica finished her dance with a pause. Her arms spread wide as if embracing the entire world, and I leapt to my feet, clapping until my palms stung. But the audience's applause was sparse, mixed with cold stares and murmurs. It had emotion, but the technique... Oh my. A mother near me shook her head. I wanted to scream, to tell them that Monica had taught herself, that she had overcome the world to stand here. But I just sat down, holding my head, trying to hold back tears. The results were announced that evening. Monica didn't win. The first prize went to a 13-year-old girl from a prestigious dance school in Boston, whose performance was choreographed by an instructor who had worked with the American Ballet Theater. Monica stood quietly beside me, still holding my hand. Her smile faded but not gone. "Dad, I danced for Mom," she said, her voice soft but steady. I hugged her, tears rolling down my cheeks. "You were the best, sweetheart," I whispered, though my heart ached like it was being torn apart. I knew she deserved more, but this world didn't judge talent by heart. They demanded technique, perfection, things a mechanic like me couldn't give her. But then something miraculous happened. As we left the stage, a group of reporters surrounded Monica and me. A woman with a sparkling microphone asked, "Monica, can you tell us about your dance? And this outfit, what does it mean to you?" With the innocence of an 11-year-old, Monica shared about her mother, how she taught herself ballet through YouTube videos, and the outfit her dad had patched up from her mom's old leotard. I stood beside her, trying to keep my voice steady as I spoke about the grueling months, Monica's dream, and the judgmental stares in Crestwood. I hadn't expected our story to touch so many hearts. The next morning, as early sunlight filtered through the thin curtains of the cheap hotel room we'd rented in Tampa, my phone buzzed incessantly as if it might leap off the table. I glared at it, thinking it was probably just messages from Hank asking if I could cover a night shift. But when I opened the screen, I saw dozens of notifications from unfamiliar names, emails, and texts from unknown numbers. One headline caught my eye from a news app. "Poor ballet girl captures audience's hearts at Youth America Grand Prix" in the Tampa Bay Times. I clicked, and there was Monica's picture, standing on the Straz Center stage in her faded pink leotard, arms spread wide, eyes blazing. My throat tightened as I read. The article detailed Monica's journey, how she taught herself ballet through YouTube, the patched outfit from her mother and me, a mechanic who did everything to get her on that stage. I called Monica, who was sitting on the bed watching her performance video on my old phone. "Sweetheart, come look at this," I said, my voice trembling. Monica hopped off, running to me, her black hair a messy tangle. I handed her the phone and she read the headline aloud, her voice filled with surprise. "Poor ballet girl. Dad, they wrote about me." She kept reading, her brown eyes wide, then suddenly hugged me tightly. "Dad, they say you're a hero. They say I made people cry." Monica laughed, but I saw her eyes glisten, not from sadness, but from something bigger, as if she'd just realized she wasn't invisible to the world. I opened the X app on my phone and my heart nearly stopped. Thousands of posts mentioned Monica with the hashtag # Tampa Ballet Girl spreading like wildfire. One user wrote, "This girl is proof that talent doesn't need money." Another shared, "Her dad is the real hero, doing everything for his daughter's dream." There were even short videos from the Straz Center audience capturing Monica's dance, with comments like, "I cried watching her perform." My eyes stung as I read, not because of the praise, but because for the first time I felt the world was seeing Monica the way she deserved, with admiration, not judgment. Then a call came from an unknown number. A gentle voice introduced herself as a representative of a Tampa charity, saying they'd read our story and wanted to sponsor Monica. "We want to help her train professionally," the woman said. I sank into a chair, my hands shaking so much I nearly dropped the phone. "Thank you," I mumbled, at a loss for words, but that wasn't all. A few days later, an online crowdfunding campaign called Monica's Dream Fund was launched. I couldn't believe my eyes as the donations grew. $10,000, then $50,000, then $200,000. Within 3 weeks, it reached $950,000. I checked my bank account, watching the balance soar like a dream. Sitting in our small Crestwood house, staring at the numbers on the screen, I cried for the first time in years. Not from pain, but from a relief that felt like a mountain had been lifted from my shoulders. I called Monica from the living room where she was practicing under the dim yellow light, her worn point shoes still creaking. "Sweetheart, come here," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Monica ran over, sweat beading on her forehead. I showed her the bank account, explaining that the world had come together to help her. Monica stared at the screen, then at me, her mouth open, speechless. "Dad, is this real? Will I really get to study ballet?" she asked, her voice breaking. I nodded, hugging her tightly, feeling the warmth of her small body. "See, Monica," I whispered, "the whole world is behind you. You've done something incredible." Monica hugged me back, her tears soaking my shirt, but she was smiling, a smile as bright as Tampa's sunshine, as if all our struggles had melted away. That evening, Monica and I sat on the sofa, eating pizza from a nearby shop, a luxury for us. Monica talked about the New York dance school she dreamed of, new ballet shoes and learning moves she'd only dared watch on videos. I listened, feeling my heart lighter than ever. The nearly $1 million wasn't just enough to pay bills, buy new shoes, or fix our rickety house. It was a ticket to a new world for Monica, where she could train properly, where her talent could be polished. I looked at Monica, still holding my hand, and knew that though she hadn't won at the Straz Center, she had conquered something greater. The hearts of thousands of strangers, and my heart once again. 6 months have passed since the Youth America Grand Prix finals, but it still feels like I'm living in a dream. Our small house in Crestwood is no longer just a place of dim yellow light and piling bills. The nearly $1 million from the crowdfunding campaign has changed everything. I paid off our debts, bought a used car, fixed the leaky roof, and got Monica a brand new pair of ballet shoes, satin white ones that she clutched tightly, her eyes sparkling as if she could see her entire future in them. Most importantly, Monica is now a student at a prestigious dance school in New York, training with teachers who have performed on Broadway stages. Every few days, I drive over 2 hours from Crestwood to pick her up from dance school. Watching Monica spin in the studio with increasingly polished movements, I feel an overwhelming sense of pride and joy. She still smiles, still carries that innocent spirit, but now there's a newfound confidence I'd never seen before. But not everything is rosy. One afternoon, as I sat in the kitchen reviewing the final bills before transferring more money to Monica's dance school, the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find my parents standing there, the two people I'd almost forgotten after they refused to help Monica during that lavish party at their house. My mother, her hair grayer than before, wore a worn-out sweater, no longer exuding the glamour of their lottery-winning days. My father stood behind her, silent, his shoulders hunched as if carrying the weight of a century's exhaustion. "Waylon," my mother said hesitantly, "can we talk for a bit?" I invited them in, but my heart felt cold. I still remembered that day vividly, when they bragged about their $200,000 lottery win, mocked Monica's ballet dreams, and told me to live practically. They sat on the sofa, and my mother began to explain. The lottery money was gone. They'd bought a new TV, renovated the house, traveled a few places, and spent as if the money would never run out. Now they were back to being broke, drowning in debt, and they had come to ask for my help. "Waylon, you have money now, don't you?" my mother said, her eyes avoiding mine. "Just a small amount to help us through this rough patch." I looked at them, feeling as if a boulder was pressing on my chest. I remembered the sleepless nights fixing cars, the times I stitched Monica's ballet outfit with bloodied hands, the neighbors' mocking words, and how my parents turned their backs when I needed them most. "Mom, Dad," I said, my voice calm but firm. "I asked you to help Monica, just a small amount so she could have a chance. You refused. Now I have to focus on Monica, on her dreams." My mother burst into tears. My father bowed his head, but I didn't waver. I wasn't being selfish, but I'd learned that gratitude and support must go both ways. They left as quietly as they came, and I closed the door feeling both heartbroken and relieved. Monica, meanwhile, was transforming every day. At her dance school, she learned techniques she'd only dreamed of through YouTube videos. One day, I watched her perform a pas de deux with a classmate, her feet gliding effortlessly across the wooden floor. After practice, she ran to hug me, talking excitedly about new moves, her strict but dedicated teacher, and her new friends at school. "Dad, I feel like I belong here," Monica said, her eyes shining, free of the anxious look she used to have back in Crestwood. But what moved me most was when she said, "Dad, I'm grateful for you, for everyone who helped us. I want to dance my best, to make them proud." I was changing too. Before, I always tried to shield Monica from judgmental stares, thinking that if I kept her close, the world would be less harsh. But through this journey, I realized that what Monica needed wasn't protection, but the chance to shine. I became more open, no longer angry at the scrutinizing looks in Crestwood. When neighbors began to look at Monica with admiration, when they stopped me at the grocery store to ask about her, I no longer felt bitter. I smiled, talking about Monica, her dance school, her dreams. I learned that gratitude isn't just thanking those who help you. It's also cherishing the hardships that make you stronger. One weekend evening, Monica and I sat on the sofa, eating cookies and watching the video of her Tampa performance. "Dad, I used to think I'd never be good enough," Monica said softly. "But now I know as long as I try, I can do anything." I hugged her, feeling the warmth of her small body, and realized that the greatest lesson wasn't just Monica's, it was mine too. A lesson about gratitude, perseverance, and never giving up on a dream, no matter how much the world turns its back. 1 year after Monica first stepped onto the Youth America Grand Prix stage in her patched-up ballet outfit, I found myself sitting in the auditorium of Lincoln Center in New York, where the stage lights blazed as if they could engulf the entire world. But this time, everything was different. Monica, now 12 years old, was no longer the little girl practicing on tiptoes in worn-out shoes in our cramped Crestwood living room. Thanks to the nearly $1 million raised through crowdfunding, she had spent the past 10 months training professionally at a prestigious New York dance school. I watched her in the dressing room before the performance, wearing a pristine white leotard, sparkling satin shoes, her black hair neatly tied in a bun. She turned to me, her smile radiant but tinged with nervousness. "Dad, I'm so nervous," Monica whispered. I took her hand, feeling the warmth of her small fingers, and said, "You've already accomplished so much, Monica. Just dance the way you always do, for Mom, for yourself, for all of us." She nodded, her brown eyes lighting up, and I knew she was ready. The Lincoln Center auditorium was packed today, filled to the brim with audience members, from ballet critics scribbling in their notebooks to parents in tailored suits and elegant dresses. I sat in a middle row, no longer squeezed into a corner like last year, but my heart still pounded as if I were the one about to take the stage. I overheard a few people nearby whispering about Monica, the poor girl from last year, now a social media sensation. They weren't mocking her anymore, no longer murmuring about her patched outfit. Instead, I heard curiosity, even expectation. "I heard she's been professionally trained now," one person said. "I want to see what she can do," another added. I gripped the competition program tightly, trying to suppress the mix of pride and anxiety swelling within me. When Monica's name was called, the auditorium fell silent. She stepped out, small but poised, the stage lights illuminating her white leotard, highlighting every movement. The music began, a violin concerto she had chosen, saying it made her feel like flying on clouds. This performance was no longer the raw, emotional, self-choreographed piece from last year. It was a meticulously prepared work, crafted with her teacher, blending flawless technique with intense emotion. Monica spun, her pirouettes perfect, as if she were born to do this. Her arms reached out, soft yet powerful, telling the story of her own journey, from the hardships of Crestwood to the brilliance of this stage. I sat there, my eyes blurring. Not from sadness, but because I saw Clara in every step Monica took. Her smile, her resilience, her love for ballet. When Monica finished and took her bow, the auditorium erupted in applause, no longer sparse, no longer mixed with whispers. The applause was thunderous, prolonged, and I leapt to my feet, tears streaming down my cheeks. Monica looked toward me, her smile as bright as the sun, and I knew she had achieved something the world could never have anticipated. The results were announced at the end of the evening. When the judge called out Monica Harper for first place, I could hardly believe my ears. Monica ran to me sobbing, and I hugged her tightly, whispering, "You did it, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you." The auditorium still echoed with applause, and for the first time I felt this world truly belonged to Monica. The prize wasn't just a gleaming trophy. Monica received a full scholarship to the School of American Ballet, one of the most prestigious dance schools in the world. It was a ticket to pursue her dream of becoming a professional ballerina, a dream that, a year ago, I thought was nothing but a fantasy. When we returned to Crestwood, the town seemed to come alive. Neighbors who once whispered behind our backs now greeted me with warm smiles, asking about Monica, even bringing cookies to our house to celebrate. Mrs. Carter from the grocery store pulled me aside and said, "Waylon, that girl is Crestwood's pride." I smiled, no longer bitter, only grateful. Grateful for the community, for the strangers who believed in Monica, and for Monica herself, who taught me that talent and perseverance can overcome any barrier. Monica has now begun a new chapter in New York, living in the dance school's dormitory, but every weekend she calls home, telling me about new lessons, new friends, and even moments of homesickness. I drive to visit whenever I can, bringing the cookies she loves, sitting in the studio to watch her dance. Every step she takes is a testament to the journey we've been through, from the tough days, the judgmental stares, to the brilliance of the Lincoln Center stage. I know Monica's path ahead will still hold challenges, but I also know she's strong enough to face them all. As for me, I'll always be here, the most steadfast father I can be, so Monica can soar high and far, like the wings she's found on that stage.